Okay, let's do the next scenario, which is these two segments. So I want to see if we remember. Let's see if we remember what kind of segments are these. If they're crossing my circle not once but twice, what do we call those? If it's both of these are crossing the circle or intersecting the circle twice. Do y'all remember the word? These are secant. If you said secant, good job. Secant and another secant segment. Okay. All right. So for these, again, just like the chords, they're split into two parts. So one part is inside the circle, one part is outside. And same for here, one part is inside, one part is outside. But for this formula, we're going to focus more on the outside parts and then the whole part together. So the formula is a little different. So what is the outside portion of the top secant? The outside portion is A. Okay, so that's the outside. And we're going to multiply the whole segment. So from A to B, it's the whole thing. Okay, so how would I put that as an equation? How can I write that? If you're doing the whole segment, A to B, then we would have to take A and add the length of B to get the whole segment, okay? So the outside part times the whole segment, which is A and B together, which together means add. Okay, and then you do the same thing for the other segment. So that should equal the outside portion, which is C, times the whole thing, which would be C and D together. So we're going to add C and D together. And that is the whole thing. So this is the formula. So just so you don't forget, we're doing outside, the outside portion times the whole segment should equal the outside portion times the whole segment for the other one, okay? And that's essentially what the formula is. The outside portion times the whole thing, the outside portion times the whole thing, C and D, A and B, okay? Now this one's a little, I know it can be a little tricky to understand, but let's do it with a problem here on the bottom. So I'm going to copy my formula. And then again over here, this is secant and secant. Okay. All right. So I'll give you some time to write the formula. Outside times the whole, outside times the whole. If you need to pause the videos at any time, please pause the videos while you're watching it. If I'm going too fast while you're writing, okay? All right. So I'm going to start highlighting the parts. So outside would be here. And the other part would be here. And then the outside of the second one. And here. Okay. All right. So just like angles, highlighting is going to help you in the beginning, since it's the beginning of learning for us. Going to help you plug in the parts correctly onto in the formula. Okay. All right. The outside section for the first segment is 6. Okay. Times the whole thing. So 6 and 8x minus 1 together. So we're adding. That should equal the outside of the other segment, which is 7. Remember, when I say outside, I mean outside of the circle. Times the whole thing, which is 7 again, plus 11. Okay? And we're going to be using parentheses because there's more than one part to this, okay? All right, so looking at this equation, the rest of the problem here is just algebra. Okay, so we want to solve for x, but right now I have a lot of stuff going on the left and the right side. But let's just start with one side at a time. So here on the left side, I can combine inside the parentheses the 6 and the minus 1. So let's do that first. So what is 6 minus 1? 5. So you have 8x, and it's a positive 5. Okay, and then on this side, I can add 7 and 11 together. 7 plus 11 is 18. Okay, and then we can start getting into the math. When you have multiplication happening with two terms, remember that's when we distribute the number, which means multiply the number to both terms. So 6 times 8x, 48x. And then 6 times positive 5 is positive 30. Okay, and on the right side, 7 times 18. If we use our calculator, 7 times 18, 126. Okay, and you see just by those two steps, now I'm looking at a equation that I know I can solve by inverse operations. So starting with the plus 30, I need to cancel addition by subtracting. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Keep it balanced. Since you undid the operations, these are gone. 48x equals 126 minus 30, which is 96. Okay, and I'm actually going to take it this way since I ran out of space. So 48x equals 96. Okay, and what's the last step? Everybody should know what to do next. How do we cancel multiplication? Division. Cancel. 96 divided by 48 is 2. Okay, so we're done with that one. X equals 2. Okay. All right, so this was an example for secant and secant. Watch the next video for the third scenario, okay?